Hello, I'm the Bunny Man.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror.
We are?
I think so. Yeah, I feel in the Eye of Terror, so.
You feel like you are?
No, we're actually another popular horror podcast. People just clicked on this to think that, we're So anyway, we're finishing up our Christmas movies, finally, at the end of the year. And we are doing Krampus 2, The Devil Returns.
It's Krampus, or Krampus. There are no two U's in Krampus. You say Krampus, it's Krampus.
Okay, 2016. And this is, surprisingly, our first movie of Krampus.
You still did two U's. But anyway.
Well, I'm sorry, I can't be perfect.
Krampus, The Devil Returns.
Well, anyway, so the first one that we did is actually one of our more higher rated ones on our podcast. People watch that. And it's
from last year.
From last year, yeah. I'm like, okay. So we're doing the sequel. And if you didn't know, this is a trilogy. So next year we'll do the last one. We'll finally stop watching these horrible, horrible movies.
We shall never succeed.
Unless they come up with a fourth one. Because who knows, through our podcast it might become popular again. And they'll be like, let's make another one.
Who knows?
Who knows? So this movie is 1 hour and 229 minutes. An eternity, actually. It's about 5 hours altogether.
No, it's 83 minutes long.
But it feels like 5 hours.
No, the film before this one did. This one doesn't go by this one goes by pretty fast.
Okay, so this again was released in 2016 and can be found on Prime.
Yes. It is an action horror thriller. It is not rated. We still recommend that you view it before you allow your children to view it.
There's like one scene that is definitely not safe for kiddies.
Well, we will not be held responsible if you let your children view it.
So, I guess let's do what are we drinking. So, what am I drinking? I'm drinking a Samuel Adams Chocolate Bock. It is a smooth, rich, and dark beer with cocoa and natural flavors. 12 fluid ounces, 5.8% volume, and 11 IBUs. And this comes in the Samuel Adams holiday pack.
Why didn't you drink the other chocolate beer I bought you?
Because I'm drinking all the Samuel Adams stuff.
Okay.
Because that stuff's actually good. So.
Okay. So we view bad movies, so you have to drink bad beer?
No, I mean,
Samuel Adams
is not all bad. No. It's just I had the entire pack and I've been looking forward to it. I've had that beer before. I've never had any of these Samuel Adams except for that Winter Lager. And I actually like this. Is everything I cannot find in a six-pack I actually enjoy. Everything I can find in a six-pack I don't care for from Samuel Adams.
That's the way it goes.
It is. I mean, it's lighter than the one you got me, which is a stout. But you could taste the chocolate in it and stuff like that. But it's not overwhelming. It's a smooth, creamy sort of ale, but it's obviously a bock. Mm-hmm. And I do like bocks on the lighter sides of beer. Mm-hmm. Like I prefer like Shiner Bock and stuff like that if I have to go to American. Although my ultimate college beer is Yuengling. If I can't find anything and they have Yuengling, I'm definitely getting a Yuengling.
IMDb gives this film a score of 1.7 out of 10, which is pretty poor.
Yeah, really. I mean, I think we've reviewed one other movie that was like lesser than this. Maybe two.
This is the last film of our Ho 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 series.
Yeah, it's such a shame. So anyway,
please feel free to go on to our Twitter and our
Horror
Aminos.
No, it's just Amino.
Amino. Okay.
Horror Amino.
Amino.
Which is a horror community app.
It makes me think of the mock soy sauce Aminos. Anyway, Horror Amino. Right?
Yeah, it's a horror community app thing.
And vote on our poll if you would like to see our glorious faces on our YouTube channel. We're going to try to take it into a little bit of a different direction this coming year. So if you'd like to get more information on that, please go to our Twitter.
And our Horror Amino.
There you go.
And then see what is going on there. And then if you want to keep more up to date with us, you can follow us on Twitter. You can also follow us on Facebook, Hormino, if you, and then Instagram. We also have a Redbubble if you want merch. I am behind on my illustrations, like I always am anymore. And a when I get those done, I'll put those on t-shirts. But we have plenty. Trust me, we have a lot of different designs. And this year for our Redbubble really has been very good for us. Thank you for everybody who's ever purchased anything from there, and we all hope you enjoy the product.
Yeah, we don't print it. We just design.
Yeah, we just design
the illustrations.
Yeah.
Well, Bunnyman does. I just take the credit for being very critical of his designs.
Yeah. Other than that, let's get into the movie. So we open up on generic Christmas feels, and
we are not done with this. Sorry, he skipped the whole introduction page. I always do that, so he's trying to jump right into the movie. I just wanted to take a moment to thank everybody that downloads and retweets and does all of those fabulous things. And if anybody would ever like to give us some money, we'll be glad to take it. We're not begging for it, but we do have a Patreon. So,
yeah. And then once we open up the YouTube, we'll have the super chats and stuff like that.
Right.
So
we're working on it.
Yeah.
But you can go and vote because we want to know everybody's opinion. Anyway, Krampus or Krampus 2, The Devil Returns. The director is Jason Hull. The writers are Jason Hull and A.J. Leslie. The cast is Sean C. Phillips, plays Rob Sanderson. Melantha Blackthorne plays Natasha. Richard Gautieri plays Gil Farabee. R.A. Miloff plays Stuart. Jason Hull plays the neighbor Bill. Tiffany Fest plays Lori Taylor. Darren Barcombe plays Paul. If you would like the complete list, you can find that on imdb.com. Something I found kind of surprising. For this to get such a low score on IMDb, the budget for this film was $1,200,000.
I'm listening.
Don't sound like it.
Well, I'm trying to do two things at once.
This film also won 3 awards and was nominated for 6. And we'll get into the details of that at the end. The storyline is 5 years after his first encounter with the beast that punishes naughty children, former police officer Jeremy Duffin is called upon to stop the Yuletide monster once and for all.
Dun dun dun.
You just can't help yourself, can you?
Nope.
Well, at least it gives you something to do. What are you doing exactly?
I am uploading while we're doing this. I'm uploading our new episode as we're doing this.
Okay. So now we can get into the film. Since Bunnyman is so eager to do so, which is fine.
So we open up on generic Christmas feels and really annoying Christmas music.
The movie begins with a city that Christmas grew up all over.
Yeah, basically. And
Kids get off the bus and go home. A boy, Josh, is very naughty. He rips off a wreath from a front door and kicks over the Santa figure on the lawn. Him and his buddy go inside through the back door. Him and Andy, his friend.
And he's like, come on, Josh, let's not do this. Come on, it's not fun anymore. And like Josh is like this chubbo like type kid, and he was like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to because I'm Josh. I'm a big man.
They go in through the back door. Finds a beer. He drinks it.
Because I know I always drink beer that I found in abandoned houses. They're the best beers.
Well, if you're a kid and that's the only beer you can get. He finds a pole and he starts ditting in walls.
He chugs the beer, chucks it against where would be the refrigerator.
I think it's where the stove would be.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when he's chugging it, you can hear
yeah.
It sounds very
cartoony. Cartoony's a word.
Yeah, it doesn't sound realistic. It sounds very digital or mechanical. It doesn't sound...
Well, and if you listen to the glass break, it sounds the same way. They added in...
Yeah. So he finishes his beer and he throws it against the wall where the stove would have been because there's no stove there. He finds a pole, a metal pole, and he hits it up against the wall. As they go up the stairs, he's hitting it back and forth against the wall. They go up to a room and they start spray painting on the walls. Well, Josh does.
Yeah,
Andy's still trying to get him to leave.
Josh, don't do that.
I think we've done enough damage. Let's leave now. Andy's still trying to be the
voice of reason.
Yeah, trying to say, hey, let's go before we get in trouble. Come on. So they're spray painting. Well, Andy is spray painting on the wall until the Krampus finds him.
Well, it really doesn't. I mean, it looks like a shadow of somebody in a full-length Santa costume. I mean, you know what it is.
It's a hooded figure.
It's a hooded figure. You know what it is because of the jacket. But, I mean, if you were watching the movie without seeing the jacket, it's just a full, like a full-length Christmas robe creature.
It looks dingy.
Yeah.
So he spray paints Merry Xmas on the house. The Krampus gets Josh and Andy.
Which I don't feel like Andy really should have got, I mean, we don't know if Andy's, a jerk, too, but it seemed like through that interaction...
You are found out to be punished just the same when you're in... If you're there, it's like you're saying you agree with the actions, so...
I guess.
Next, a guy dressed as Santa has a long chat with a kid asking for a video game. So it looks like you're in kind of like a community style building, maybe like center. A town hall or community center or something. It kind of reminded me of the VFW here locally in town where they have a lot of community events. And this Santa character
doesn't look like looks very Santa.
He looks like an older kind of biker dude that has his beard growed out.
But trimmed in other areas. He had a long front, but trimmed around the long front.
And he's a slim man, but he's dressed as Santa. And one of the ladies comes up to him and says, well, thank you so much for doing this. And he says, anything for the little kiddies.
But, I mean, the little kitty was 13. I mean...
Right, well...
the first kid he saw was this, 13-year-old kid who wanted a video game. And then the Santa was like, is that some type of computer game or something like that? This was made in 2016. it's not like it was unheard. This type of stuff is.
Yeah, but if you're not involved in
I
stuff,
think it's just the way that it was like. Is that some sort of computer game? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's just like computer games are a new thing. That's what I was trying to get at.
Right. So, the first kid Santa sees is a kid that looks to be around 13, 14 years old. He's a preteen age. His name is Donnie.
Donnie Baker.
Donnie Baker. And he asks Santa for a particular computer game. Santa asks him, wouldn't you rather have a baseball or a football or
anything that would
something that would get you outside?
A dog. I think he even said a dog.
Hold on. He says, no, I think that stuff is boring. Being outside is boring. And he says, what about a puppy? Or a fluffy little kitten? He says, those will teach you responsibility. He says, I hate cats and dogs. They stink. The Santa asked his name. The boy leaves and Santa checks his list. His name is under the naughty children.
Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs.
Donnie Baker's a naughty boy.
He's a naughty boy. Uh-oh.
You should never use that voice again. That might invoke some problems. So Jeremy is asked by the cops to come and help. It's killing again, but earlier and more intense. He finally agrees and packs a bag, and they all leave, along with Jeremy's friend, Monk.
Did we get to the news segment?
No.
No, okay.
And the intro begins.
Okay, now we get to the news segment, right? Is that the news? I'm so confused. My notes, because I just didn't feel like there was a lot to take notes on in this movie.
I take very thorough notes, and the bunny man just kind of randomly jots things down, and he gets lost.
Okay.
Okay, so Officer Dave and the others are met at the police station by a mob of unhappy people looking for answers. Donnie's mom tells him to go to bed. After about 10 times, he finally gets up and goes to his room.
Well, he's playing some game on a tablet, and she's like, I'm going to take that tablet away.
I'm going to take that away. Go to bed.
Yeah.
Empty threats. She goes outside to have her a smoke.
Not just any smoke, but American Spirits. Home of the Heartland. Tobacco of the finest quality. Non-addictive.
Tell that to Donnie's mom.
Yeah. And they're expensive as all hell. They're expensive. Let's put it that.
So she's outside with the door open because she has to hear her precious little angel if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, and so Donnie goes upstairs, and then we see something slither underneath the bed.
I must have missed that part, but okay.
You were looking at your phone.
No, I wasn't.
You were taking down notes. You were doing anything. There's something I caught, that's all.
So Donnie yells for his mommy because he thinks something is under his bed.
Oh, no.
Mommy, something's under my bed. She hears him scream and runs inside to find an empty room with an open window. She runs to the neighbor's house, screaming that the thing got Donnie. Her neighbor says, we need to call the police, so they go inside. Neighbor Bill.
To the rescue. Bill.
That's actually the director and writer of the...
And she's like, I'm going to get my shotgun and things like. He's like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I would do.
Well, I think she was funny that she runs to the neighbor and it's like, I'm going to go back in the house and get my shotgun. You think that would be the first thing you would go for.
Yeah.
But we live in the South, and that's what happens.
Paul, Dave, Jeremy, and the monk. Well, not the monk, but Monk. Big guy Monk.
I hate that.
Make it to the conference room of the police station.
And Jeremy, who's been off in the woods by himself for a long period since the last movie, is warmly greeted by hugs and jubilation.
Yep.
By his fellow comrades of the Shield.
Yep. So as they're talking, they get a call from Donnie Baker's mom. She requests Dave.
Oh, but he also so he knows everybody in the conference room except for that one chick. I thought she was a reporter for some reason. The one female police officer.
Lori.
I thought they introduced her as a reporter. I guess I got that wrong.
No, she's a detective, and she became a detective because her daughter or her son, she had a child that was taken around the same time as Jeremy's daughter was taken.
Yeah, so that's the tie-in.
So that's what invoked her to become a detective.
Yeah, but that's also the tie-in for this. We got to investigate type thing. Mm-hmm. And then now we see that there's a news report on what is sort of like the backstory. And I have to say, this news reporter has some weird gestures, especially towards the end.
Weird gestures.
Yeah, like he was like, "Hey, I'm out!" You know? It's like, remember the whole guy? I showed you the video of the guy who was like, you know, and Beelzebub comes from... Holes are cool. Yeah. He sort of reminds me of that guy. But, like, his, like, weird balding hair, it's just... He's very awkward looking.
Not somebody that should be on camera.
Yeah. And then he has the weird arm movement at the end.
He's trying to dance to the mice.
Yeah.
Okay. So we come to a trailer with some of the naughty children who are captured inside with Santa. You find out that Santa and Krampus are brothers. They tie up the kids one by one and whip them. Santa says, "This is going to be a productive week, brother." The cops get to Donnie's house. Jeremy walks around. He finds what looks like a bracelet.
So but it's in the middle of the night. So, you know, they're walking around in the woods, and he happens to come across a bracelet in the middle of the night. And no one has a flashlight or anything like that. So he has like extra sensitive eyes or something. It's
kind of glittery.
Yeah, but still, I mean.
Gil tells him they have found other items of hers. Talking about Jeremy's daughter. Oh, you forgot to mention that as the creepy Santa, as I call him, was in the room of kidnapped kids, he reads heartwarming letters to Santa. As the Krampus, you know, services him with like foods and stuff. And he plays Christmas music from a tape deck that's from like the early 80s.
Yeah, and it's just, and I was like thinking the entire time, I was like, I understand that they probably had no like music budget, but if they did, I bet you'd be like blaring Mariah Carey Christmas music all the time. Seems like that guy.
Their budget was $1 million.
And you know how expensive?
$1,200,000.
But you know how expensive like like getting a song is for like a movie.
All
budget?
their costumes look like they were bought at Goodwill.
Yeah, or a Party City on discount.
Discount.
Discount Party City.
I've lost my place. Okay, the bracelet. Gil, another cop, tells Jeremy that they had found other items of his daughter's throughout this investigation. So they're thinking she's probably still alive. The local biker dude is not very happy because Jeremy killed his brother this time last year.
I cannot place if he was a biker, like it was a biker gang or a mob, like a mafia.
I don't know, but he owned a bar and he was dressed in leather, and so was his girlfriend, but there was no bike, so
Oh, I thought it was just a home bar.
No, it was his bar.
I thought you had like a house bar.
That's a big house bar. I want that house bar. That's a huge one.
Maybe he's a heavy drinker. I mean, he's a heavy guy.
Anyway, so he wants revenge. He gets his stooge and his girlfriend, Trevor and Natasha, to lure him so he can have some fun with Jeremy.
Why is it all bad women's names like Natasha? I blame Boris for this. And that flying squirrel.
Santa has a stern talk with his brother Krampus. He tells him, no more going rogue. Stick to the schedule.
Yeah, because he's like sort of setting up this like weird like altar or something in the middle of somebody's like front yard. I'm so lost on exactly what he was doing.
He was like, you look like a crappy kid. You need to die. Mm-hmm. You're not on the list. Oh, well.
No, but I mean, he was like setting up this weird altar when he told him this. I don't know what that was. Something we'll never mention again.
Stick to the schedule so we'll have time to take care of Jeremy Duffin. He says, I understand this town is full of naughty children. I get it. There's naughty children everywhere. Basically, our burden is heavy, but we'll deal with it. But we're going to stick to the plan because I want to have to, we need to have time to take care of Jeremy Duffin. We don't have time to deal with every single naughty kid.
Yeah.
So we got to prioritize the naughtiness. What level of naughtiness needs to be punished, basically. That's the most hilarious part of the film to me, when he's kind of, listen here, we need to do this. You need to get your head on straight. No more going rogue. I mean, I was like, to watch Santa get on to Krampus was just like, wow. Mm-hmm. You need to do a shirt where it has Krampus and Santa like smacking Krampus and holding a list. That is hilarious. So Gil and Jeremy are driving and talking about how his daughter can still be alive. Jeremy goes back to his hotel room and he says, Heather, if you're alive, I will find you. Then he shaves his head and face bald.
Yeah, don't really understand that. I'm going to get serious.
That was his former look, so he's just going back to the glory days.
I'm going to get serious.
Just happened to have that razor handy.
Yeah, and that crappy motel.
Yep, seedy motel has electric razors. Who knew?
Yeah.
So he meets the boys back at the local cop bar, and they say, well, that's the Jeremy I remember. Harry sold the bar because he didn't want to deal with all the drunks. He's still there, though. Jeremy says, you can't kill him. Look what he did to my family.
Yeah, because it was his brother's anniversary of his death, and you wanted to give him something special for it.
No. Jeremy is saying you can't kill Krampus. Look what he did to my family.
Yeah, okay. I got confused.
Jeremy mentions the bracelet he found. Some of them think, she's dead. Some don't. Natasha and the boys get to the cop bar. One of them gets arrested.
This whole like weird scuffle, I didn't know what was going on. Like, it just was.
Two of the guys go into the bar, and I guess the cops immediately recognized who they are, and they were like, oh, and one of them got away, and the other one got arrested.
I know, but it was just.
And Natasha's standing across the street watching these idiots. She's like, y'all are dumb. She's just standing there watching these idiots get arrested.
Yeah. Well, she had to have her... Because he told her not to go in, because he would recognize her or get enamored with her breasts that are hanging out. I don't know.
They wanted to take care of it because they're the men.
Yeah.
Manly men.
Men. We're men in tights.
Yes. They didn't have the tights. Maybe that would have helped. So the female detective, Lori, she sees Natasha across the street, and she follows her. Jeremy and Monk find one of the guy's keys and decide to check the guy's car out. That dropped the keys on the ground.
And lucky for them, they come across a message on the phone that says, take them to some house that's like 2 hours away.
Somebody's a certain person's cabin, and everybody in town knows who that...
that cabin. Yeah. That's owned by the old Joseph boy that burned down 20 years ago. We know that place.
Thanks, I need to be smacked.
Yeah. The Kelly house.
The Kelly house, okay.
It's next to the Johnson barn that burned down 20 years ago. If you go past the third cornfield, you've gone too far. You got to turn around to the second soybean field.
You mean it's next to the Plassey's farm?
Yeah.
Okay. Lori catches up with Natasha. It was the most awkward fight ever.
It was just really bouncy. That's all I got. Bouncy. And it was just so, because Natasha has her breastises shoved up. I mean, like in a corset. It's literally head, breast.
Yeah, I get that. And legs.
Yeah.
Well, their fighting isn't really well choreographed. And it's like, I'm going to hit you. Oh, you hit me.
No. It sort of reminds me of the fights you would view in adult films. I don't like you. Oh. Yeah.
Kiss me, fool. You're waiting for them to start.
Yeah.
When are they going to kiss? I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it reminds me of. I mean, just the way they're both dressed and, it just... But, I mean, yes, it was very poorly choreographed. It was really...
It was interesting.
Yeah.
So, Lori loses, and she gets drug off by Natasha. TJ dropped the ball and made Stuart very angry. He was not supposed to leave Natasha. TJ was the one that managed to sneak away and evade the cops, but in doing so, he left Natasha behind. And Stuart was like, that's the one rule I gave you. Do not leave Natasha. He was so mad. So he picks up TJ's gun.
And
he goes to shoot him. There's no bullets in it. So Natasha pushes a gun to him across the bar. He picks it up. And TJ's freaking out, screaming at him and everything. Well, he gets a bullet in the brain.
And we have CGI blood. And it splatters. It's supposed to splatter on the wind, on the camera lens or whatever. It acts like that. It's really annoying.
So what kill is this?
I didn't get any kills because I don't like gunplay in these type of things. It's the first one. Because I didn't know if Donnie died or not.
No, he was captured.
He was captured, but he was whipped. And he was unconscious for the entire movie. So I don't know if he died because they whipped him too hard or what.
No, Jeremy comes in later and talks to the kids and tells them he's going to be back. So evidently they're still conscious. They're just probably passed out from the pain.
Yeah. I didn't know. So I mean but I don't like gunplay in horror movies. And I don't really...
So number one.
Yeah.
TJ got his brain scrambled.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this is one of the... Other than, towards the end. And it's just we have blanks that we have to use.
Deep in the woods, Jeremy, and Monk go to check out the address in Brian's car.
Kelly's farm.
Yeah, Kelly's farm. No, Kelly's cabin.
House, whatever.
Monk doesn't think Lori is here, but maybe the monster is. He specifically says, I don't think we'll find Lori here, but we might find the monster. Jeremy goes inside as Monk checks out the outside. Monk goes to a shed, passes around it. This is out back behind it. He keeps walking past it, like I said. The monster sneaks up behind him.
I'm the monster.
Jeremy runs shooting at Krampus. Krampus knocks him out in one swing.
Yeah, like a...
Go to sleep.
Yeah.
You do find out that Monk is dead, unfortunately.
Yeah, he gets, like, strangled and...
Jeremy... Okay, this is the point where we're really not going to go into a lot of detail because it's a very explicit scene.
A very awkwardly explicit scene. Like, they sort of threw this in the middle of it just to make sure that you keep watching.
Yeah, it's not in the middle, it's closer to the end, but still it's... Okay, so it seems as if Jeremy's almost in like a dream-like state where he's not really sure if this event is actually happening or not. And you can even tell later on when it's mentioned, he isn't really sure if it's real, if it really happened. But he's up on what seems like is an altar. He's handcuffed, he's bound, he's nude, and a woman who has a mask on, all you can see is her hair, and she's nude. She forces herself upon him.
And they have coitus.
And there's some kind of blood sacrifice that's involved. It doesn't
With
really...
the blood, we don't know where that came from.
It doesn't really explain that, but she starts rubbing it on herself and on him. So there's a blood sacrifice of some sort. I'm not sure if she was maybe a virgin before and that was representing the breaking of the hymen or
whatever.
What the case
and
is.
And then what it looks like is she puts a number 8 onto his chest hair. Because, I mean, that's
she makes
a force.
A great big 8 in blood.
Because, I mean, that's a force of hair there.
On his chest and part of his abdomen. But she makes a great big 8 on his chest in the blood. Okay.
Yeah, it's just very confusing and really has no place in...
So you get past that awkward scene.
Yeah.
And he wakes up. He's hanging upside down. He's fully clothed. And Monk is dead beside him. And he's outside. So he's outside, right across from where Monk is, hanging upside down, fully clothed. Mm-hmm. And he wakes up to see Monk on the ground, dead beside him.
And then the mob crew.
Yep. Natasha gets there first. She cuts him down. And she gets him to crawl. She actually tried to get him to give her a piggyback ride like a horse to the house.
Yeah.
But he was too weak for that. So she gets him to crawl to the house. So the police, knowing where they are because they told him, they come to back them up. Natasha realizes the cops are there. A cop comes in to free Lori, who they've tied up into the house. Lori gets free, and her and Natasha shoot each other.
Yeah, and again, it's another weird sort of like lovers quarrel fight, and she says stuff and licks her face, and it's just like they just needed to get it done and over with. And
but Natasha only likes blondes.
Yeah. whatever. And
Stewart kills the captain.
Okay, I had to say something. All these cops at this point are just incompetent. All of them. They fail as... How are they still alive? If this is how they do things.
They're not used to this much action. It must be a really small town where nothing ever happens.
No, Jeremy took care of all the action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even in his sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Well, Stewart kills the captain, and Krampus takes care of him. Santa has a little conversation with Jeremy about him killing Santa's daughter and his wife killing herself with pills.
Yeah, this whole Santa thing...
So Santa has a heart-to-heart with Jeremy, and he says, "What would you like for Christmas?"
But, I mean, this whole Santa thing is confusing me, because is he just like a psychotic person that thinks he's Santa? Or is he really Santa? Because he's like, I'm a god. I can do whatever. I'm Santa.
Mm-hmm.
But then his wife and his kid both die.
So he's omnipotent, but they're not?
There's so many questions I have for this one point. This whole one sort of monologue.
So Santa asks Jeremy what he wants for Christmas. And he says he wants this whole nightmare to end. He said, well, that's a really tall order. I'm not sure if Santa can make that wish come true. So he proceeds to tell him about a story. Santa's story. How he came about. He had a daughter. She was killed. Jeremy was the one that killed her. His wife, out of her grief, overdosed on pills. She just couldn't take the loss of their daughter. So Santa decides for Christmas, he's going to give Jeremy the gift of being a father and a grandfather all in one.
Yeah. And then the 8 is not actually an 8 on his chest, but it's infinity sign.
Right. He's like, that's not an 8. It means infinity. Because the torment and the pain that you feel now in this nightmare you're having is going to last forever. So, basically, the dream that he had where he had relations with a woman, it was his daughter.
Which you figured out when it happened. And then you're like, that's probably his daughter.
Yeah. Which one of us said that?
You did.
Yeah, because I'm the one with the jacked up brain that thinks stuff like that. And I'm like,
no,
I could make a movie.
No, I was like I was just sort of hoping it didn't go into.
It didn't go that far. It went there.
I was more confused by the blood. Where did the blood come from?
I think it was supposed to.
Yeah, I get it.
The breaking of the hymen and losing her virginity and all that.
But it's just a lot of blood.
It was quite a bit.
Like dead rodent type.
Well, even a small amount of blood looks like a lot of blood.
I guess.
So, and that ends the film. They let Jeremy go.
Well, he tries to blow up Santa with a shotgun, and then and it doesn't work. So he tries to turn on himself, and it doesn't work. And he realizes that he's stuck in this horrible world. And I mean. Yep. Okay, I mean, there's other ways you could kill yourself, and then there's shotgun and whatever. Yeah. And then they both, Santa and the Krampus, just walk off into the forest, just holding hands, just skipping along.
So what do you rate this film?
I give it a 1. Actually, it's a 5 out of 5. It's the perfect film.
Are you stuck on 1?
I don't know. I just...
Okay, explain what you were going to
say. Okay, I mean, it's just... All I can say is really, it's just, wow. This movie's really just... I can't remember the first one at all. And this movie is just really forgettable. and it doesn't revolve anything around the Krampus other than he grabs kids. Again, this is another movie that uses the name and the visual and doesn't actually use the creature.
No, it uses the creature. Just that's like a it's an afterthought.
The title simply could have been Santa's a Dick. You know, actually, I think that would have been a better title. Santa's a Dick. I felt like the music, the Christmas music was just annoying. It was just generic, but it was that generic annoying stuff. Like that playing on like instruments that are not actually like kids' instruments.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I think that was the intent, though.
But that just drives me nuts. The story jumps all over the place again. There's a lot of weird sexual tension between characters that that is odd. Like the Natasha Lori thing, and it's like, and then again, she just seemed to be placed in there to be the sexual object of the. And then like a lot of the stuff is dark and just you can't really figure it out. Like when they tie up Lori and put her in the trunk. And she shows like her boyfriend / mob boss but they didn't really. I didn't feel like they formed a relationship. Like it didn't say what the relationship was, but they opened it up and it was just to me it looked like a pile of garland and like lights. And I'm still wondering how where the electrical source was from the lights. Like little things that really just sort of bother me. And then
you can buy battery operated string of lights.
I get that. I mean, I've had those. But you really couldn't figure out if that was a person or just a pile, but they're both laughing.
You can see her face.
Okay. And then...
This is the problem when you don't pay attention and you play on the phone.
Why is paying attention?
Obviously not.
And honestly, this movie, again, a lot of the characters in it are forgettable, the movie's forgettable, the story's forced and boring.
I give it a 2.5 out of 5. I was going to give it a higher score, but I realized that a lot of people are going to be very disturbed by this film because they're expecting to see a film where a monster punishes children.
And I think that's where I was too, because there was sort of that in the first one, if I do remember correctly. I don't remember, though.
I don't know. So, my first qualm is Santa says he is not vengeful, but then he turns around and does something vengeful. Okay. The second is more and more of it is about how these two families are connected. Santa and Jeremy's family is connected. And very little of the movie is about actually the punishment of children, which is what a Krampus film should be about.
Or just some sort of, like, bad. Punishing something bad. Like, it would have been fun if it would go against, the mob family.
So why did they even take Jeremy's daughter and keep her alive?
To torture Jeremy. Because they had this weird hard-on for Jeremy. I forgot because of this whole situation. They just want to torture him. Again, it's vengeful.
Torture him by hurting a child?
Yeah, that's the only way that they're really going to hurt him, I guess. I don't know.
So he took his daughter, so he's going to take his daughter, basically. Mm-hmm. An eye for an eye. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But they wanted to have the pain. So what's I guess the most painful thing that a father could do or what, unknowingly do is, it's just knowing that you have sex with your daughter, I guess. Unknowingly. I don't know what that whole thing was, and it's just very, very disturbing.
Yeah. I think they could have done the film and made a plot hole without being that demented.
The movie is a plot hole. There's so much going on that they leave so much open. And a lot of it, or they say stuff and, nothing is clarified. It doesn't even really go back to the first one. Everybody wants this Jeremy guy. I get.
Well, the thing is, it's supposed to pick up where the last one left off, which I'm not sure because it's been a year since we watched.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I'll be honest. The whole mask, the whole Krampus mask, just took me out of it. Like that whole get up, and then again, the Santa thing. Like, I'm still trying to figure out if this is supposed to be a real Santa. Like, this is the real Santa or this is Psycho Santa. And I guess we'll have to wait till the third one next year.
Okay, so I'm curious to know what some other people's views are. Here's someone's review. It says, dire. Okay, where do I start? Let's start with the technical and say the sound is truly awful.
Thank you.
It's like they only had one mic between all the actors, so in scenes with background noise, you can hear what people are saying. This happened all through the movie, where actors' sound levels were below background sound levels, causing whole scenes to be inaudible. Actually a blessing when looking at the film as a whole. Another is atrocious editing. Meaningless, long, single scenes with no cutting. Pregnant pauses. Protracted shots that are pointless and moronic fade out for no reason. The effects were laughable. A guy in a doggy mask and a laughable sound effects. I've seen being better CGI on a smartphone. This is not a joke. Now the story. Contrived and painful joining of a stupid storyline to just add more running time to the original shaky one. This was a terrible idea and just makes you shake your head in disbelief. Finally, the acting. It was awful. Kids with no acting ability and adults with about the same. Scenes of meaningless, terribly scripted small talk. Protracted scenes of more terrible small talk. And lots of ham. I don't remember ham.
No. Just nothing.
It was just an obvious way of filling time. A scene of a news reporter was hilarious.
Yes, it was.
His sole job was as an exposition vehicle due to the poor editing and dialogue up to this point. The film is just reeked in minuscule budget, no imagination, and someone delving into a dressing up box for costumes. This was dire on all fronts and a waste of 119 minutes. Wow, that was rough. I at least gave it some credit, but
I think you're becoming what is the term? I think you're starting to look into the abyss, and the abyss is looking back at you. Hey, we're bad movies, but we're not that bad, now are we?
It's the mirror effect?
Yeah.
We've hit the mirror effect?
I think so.
Oh my goodness. That was just wrong. That's just wrong. You see what this one person said?
What? Tedious indie horror sequel.
That's wrong.
Simply horrible.
Yeah, exactly what I said.
Yeah.
A lot of money. What the heck did they do with it? $1 million well spent.
No, I mean, it is just yeah, so.
They won awards. Let's see what the awards are. I don't know. I can't find the information.
So it supposedly has awards. Okay, so. But anyway, so let's just finish this off.
It's bothering me.
I get it, but I mean,
Whoa.
What?
39 people contributed $3,537 to crowdfunding campaign on fan-backed. Really? People wanted to see another one?
No, it's just only going to get worse, babe, so.
Okay, well, I'm not sure where the information is, but...
Suppose you won awards and nominations. Like I said, I'm hoping for raspberries. Things like that.
I'm not sure.
So we'll see you later.
Scare you later.
Bye.